Travel has a way of disrupting us. Airports, schedules, hotel rooms, noise, unfamiliar rhythms. Even when travel is meaningful or exciting, there's often a strange feeling of disconnection that comes with constantly moving from place to place. And perhaps nowhere is that more noticeable than in our daily rituals. The routines that quietly ground us at home suddenly disappear. The familiar cup, the morning light, the favorite kettle, the chair near the window. Travel can make life feel temporary. But tea has an interesting ability to restore a sense of continuity, even in unfamiliar places. A small tea setup on a hotel desk, steam rising in a quiet room before sunrise, a familiar oolong after a long day of meetings or movement. Suddenly, the space begins to feel human again. Welcome back to TeaMinded. I'm glad you're here. Today we're talking about minimalist travel with tea. How a very small tea kit can help maintain mindfulness and ritual while traveling. Why tea changes the atmosphere of temporary spaces. And how even one intentional cup can transform the experience of being on the road. There's something inherently sterile about many travel environments. Hotel rooms are designed for efficiency and neutrality. Airports are transitional by nature. Coffee becomes transactional. Meals become rushed. And over time, travel can begin to feel strangely disembodied. Tea quietly pushes against that feeling. Not dramatically, not extravagantly, but enough to create a small sense of grounding. One thing I've learned over time is that you do not need much to create a meaningful tea ritual while traveling. In fact, the simplicity is part of the beauty. A small gaiwan, a pouch of good oolong, perhaps a travel kettle or simply access to hot water. That's enough. Enough to create atmosphere. Enough to slow down. Enough to restore rhythm to an unfamiliar day. I think many people assume tea rituals require elaborate setups, entire tea tables, large collections of teaware, specialized tools. And certainly, tea culture can become wonderfully deep and expansive. But travel reminds us that tea is ultimately about attention, not accumulation. Some of the most memorable cups of tea happen with almost nothing. A quiet hotel room at dawn, rain against the window, steam rising from a simple porcelain gaiwan. The minimalism sharpens awareness. Travel tea rituals also change the emotional quality of a place. Most hotel rooms feel interchangeable. But once tea enters the space, the room begins to feel inhabited, lived in, personal. The act of preparing tea introduces warmth and rhythm into an otherwise temporary environment. A ritual says, "I am here fully," even briefly. One of the most important aspects of travel tea is portability. And interestingly, the smaller the kit becomes, the more intentional every item feels. For me, a minimalist travel tea setup might include a small gaiwan, one fairness pitcher or travel cup, a compact tea towel, a single tea, perhaps a bamboo scoop. That's it. No excess, only essentials. And because each item matters, the ritual becomes more attentive. Oolong tea in particular travels beautifully. It's forgiving, complex, comforting. A good oolong changes over multiple infusions, which naturally slows the pace of the experience. And perhaps that's one reason tea pairs so well with travel. Travel often fragments attention. Tea gathers it again. There's also something deeply calming about carrying familiar tea while moving through unfamiliar places. The aroma becomes recognizable. the flavor becomes grounding. Even if the city changes, the tea remains constant. That continuity matters more than we sometimes realize. I think tea also changes our relationship with solitude while traveling. Many people experience loneliness on the road, even in crowded places. Tea rituals transform solitude into intentional quiet. Instead of simply passing time in a hotel room, the moment becomes reflective. The tea creates presence, and presence changes the atmosphere entirely. One thing I especially appreciate about travel tea rituals is how they encourage noticing. When we travel quickly, places can blur together. But preparing tea slows perception. You begin noticing light through the window, weather patterns, city sounds, the pace of the morning, the feeling of being somewhere unfamiliar. Tea deepens observation. Minimalist travel with tea also reflects something larger about intentional living. We often think comfort requires abundance, but tea reminds us that atmosphere is created more by attention than by accumulation. A single good tea, one simple vessel, a few uninterrupted moments. That can be enough to transform a space completely. If you're interested in creating your own travel tea ritual, I'd encourage you to begin simply. Choose one tea you genuinely love, one brewing vessel, and one consistent moment during travel. Perhaps early morning before the city wakes, or late evening after the day quiets down. The ritual itself becomes an anchor. As TeaMinded continues, we'll keep exploring tea rituals, craftsmanship, mindfulness, Japanese tea culture, slow living, and the many ways tea shapes thoughtful daily life, both at home and on the road. But today, I hope this episode reminds you that meaningful rituals do not depend on perfect environments. Sometimes all it takes is hot water, good tea, and a few moments of attention, even in a quiet hotel room far from home. Thank you for listening to TeaMinded. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the podcast on Spotify and share it with someone who loves tea, travel, slow living, or mindful daily rituals. And until next time, put the kettle on, slow down a little, and stay tea-minded.